Is Arukh HaShulchan Yordeh Siman Lamed Vav Sif Ayin Zayin to Ayin Tes. This is Supplemental Day 232 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. Ayin Zayin Koser Rambam. The Perek Zayin Din Yudalad. The Rambam writes, New Ishrir, Machad Shim says Berea, if you find a needle in the lung, no chinosa, we inflate it. Im lo yotzar mimenu ruach, if no air comes out, biyadua shezosa machad derech simfonas nichosa, we know that this needle came in through the bronchial tubes. V'lo nikva, did not pierce the lung. But if you cut up the lung before you inflated it, needs to machad, you find the needle inside, raise asura. Then the animal is forbidden. It's likely that it punctured the lung when it came in. What do you mean? The explanation is when the lung is complete, intact. Such as in such a case where the lung is intact, and when they manipulated it, they felt there's a needle inside. No, we inflate it. If no air escapes, it's kosher. Most things are swallowed through the esophagus, not through the trachea. They don't normally get swallowed through the trachea. So therefore, we should be compelled to say that it came out from the trachea, the esophagus, to the intestines. And then it pierced the intestines. And then the viyotza went out. And pierced the membrane of the lung. Went into the lung. We don't say that. Because then the lung would bubble up. There'd be a hole in the lung in which the air would escape. We're not concerned that maybe there was in fact a puncture in the lung, but it got a scab, a membrane covering it, and therefore it got closed up. And that's why the wind didn't escape. We don't assume there's a prohibition because we see it's intact. There's no adhesion, which we normally see if there is a scab. Therefore, we say we say that it swallowed the needle through the trachea. The naturally means close to, it's connected to. The lung is near the trachea. And then entered the bronchial tubes inside the lung. Means the first of the bus area, and it went from the tubes to the flesh of the lung. But the outer membrane of the lung was not punctured. Even if the inner membrane was punctured, it's not concerned. Since the outer membrane is intact. And we always said it right several times, only one of the membranes has to be intact. Also, we're not concerned that perhaps the needle has destroyed some of the flesh on the inside of the lung. We already saw that there's something missing on the inside, so I'd say to be traphus. And brackets, he says, look at Rashi, Daf Mum Ches and Beis, Yamasu Sinfoina, and the Lechem Mishnah. Ayin Ches. And this is no distinction whether the needle is thin or thick. Even one side of the needle is thick, like the pit of a date, and the thick side points towards the cavity of the body. And evidently, when we're going to see that this happens by the liver, the animal's treif, which is by a sim mouth, as will become clarified much later on. Because we would by the liver, we say it's straight because it certainly came in through the narrow side, through the esophagus, and there from there it pierced into the liver. That's why its thick side is pointing towards the body cavity. You understand? Because if it had come in with the thin side into the liver through the trachea, then the thin side, the narrow side, would be pointing towards the cavity, the body cavity. Berea ain't a fresh bezeh. Along, there's no distinction, no such distinction. Because the bronchial tubes in the lung are broad, and the lung is very close to the trachea. We know, of course, that the lung is connected to the trachea and not the liver, even though it's not clear from what you just said whether the halacha took that into account. We'll see when we get there, obviously. The basar rach, and the flesh of the lung is soft, unlike the flesh of the liver. Mrachef tamid, and it's constantly fluttering. I mean, we say it's possible that a needle will come in even on with its thick side first. And when it came in from the trachea to the flesh, that was imposed through the tubes. Also not concerned that when, as it was traversing the lung, it pierced from one tube to another tube, which would make a treifa. We don't assume a flaw if we don't see anything to indicate it. We see the lung is intact because on all sides. Has no hole. So it must be that this needle did not come in through the esophagus. And why would we assume a flaw from a piercing of one tube to another tube, which we don't see? There's no compelling reason to say it. Those who say the okay, but some say, well, check it out. Open up the lung, the rose, and see. Maybe it is going from one tube to another tube. That's the simul chadasha. Anything we should clarify. That's maybe, but the evidence loss, okay, but after the fact, if we didn't do it, the animal's still kosher. Ein test. All this is share shlema when the lung is intact. They sensed the needle when the lung was intact. And they inflated, and no wind came out. There's also a locha. You didn't feel the needle, but they inflated him because there's some other issue which rose along. They said shlema, and it was found to be intact. And the wind did not, no wind escaped from it. Sorry. And afterwards they cut it apart. And they find a needle, one of the parts. It's also a halacha. That's the right. We don't say since it didn't sense the needle previously, that the inflation should not remove the doubt of the puncture of the needle. Okay, no. It's not true. The when there was making inflated on account of the needle, on another account. So in final analysis, even the primary reason why you are inflating it, the rosi made a to see if the wind does not come out from it. It makes no difference if they knew of the needle or if they didn't know of the needle. But in the final analysis, we've clarified that the lung is whole and intact. Okay, so that is it for today. The pay tomorrow will say that avol, however, but that's not for now.